Hi everyone, it's Sean from STK Markets here today. We've got Mike Hudson, the President CEO of Southern Cross Gold and Hannan Metals on the TSXV. Thanks for joining us, Mike. How have you been?
Very well, Sean. Busy.
Yes, we know, which is good. We can see that in the share price of Southern Cross. Listen, Mike, a lot of people have known you for quite some time now, having made a hell of a lot of money from Southern Cross, but you've got two passion projects that I've known about for the last 3 or 4 years that we've been dealing with each other. One is obviously Southern Cross, which has done extraordinarily well, and the other one's Hannan Metals, which has been actually working in stealth, and we've started looking at it over the last little while. Can you just give us a little bit of an idea as to why you like these two projects, where we are today?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, the last number of years have been exceedingly busy in Southern Cross, and we made a wonderful discovery there. And I remain managing director and highly motivated to continue to make that work and build that project. But in the background, for the last 25 years, I've been working in and out of Peru. Mark Saxon and myself bought the database of a major mining company that went into liquidation in the 90s that we were working for, Pasminco. We bought their geological database. So we've been dealing there with projects for the last 25 years or longer, nearly 30 years. We've got royalties on projects, and we keep going back to Peru. And Hannan is a discovery that few make. It's brand new belt, an epithermal gold and porphyry copper gold belt over 150 kilometers. We made that through being in that country for a long time and knowing people. So people that have worked with me for 25 years plus. And that's why I'm able to do many things, because I've surrounded myself with very good people who manage these projects, and as I am as an executive chair, really help and advise. But it's got a great team behind us there in Peru, and I look forward to telling you a bit more about the story. I'll hand it back to you though to sharpen my focus perhaps.
Mike, the Hannon story is a really good one. We've been watching the share price for the last 12 months. You've made some huge discoveries there. And these discoveries aren't, as I say, tiny. They're actually ginormous. Peru is a mining district. You've had gold since the Incas. So there's been a lot of mining in Peru as a jurisdiction, which, as you know, as you said, you've been working with. Can you just give us a bit of a rundown of how big this system is compared to others? I mean, from what you've told us, it's absolutely huge.
There's no doubt about it. It's one of the biggest earlier stage discoveries in the globe at the moment. I think I can say that fairly confidently. A lot of risk because it's early stage, and it's not a mine today, of course. But what we're seeing is something pretty unique. So Peru's top two or three copper producer. It's definitely a top 10 and could be close to the top five gold producer if you take formal and informal mining in the country. And it's produced a serious amount of the world's metals and still will. The Andes are one of the most prolific places on Earth for a variety of metals: copper, gold, lead, zinc, tin, amongst other things. And there's been a lot of discoveries made, like you said, some from Inca and pre-Inca times. The Spanish conquered Peru for their metals and for the gold. And then it's had a very strong modern mining industry. Peru is simple to think about. It runs basically north-south. You've got the coast, the other side of the Pacific from Australia, and that coastal region is amazingly dry. It's a rain shadow that forms on the edge of the Andes. You go up to 4,000 or 5,000 meters into the Andes, and that's where most of these deposits in Peru have been found. And then you go over the other side of the rain shadow of the Andes, and it's jungle. It's called the high jungle. And then you move out down into the Amazon as you go further east. We're in that high jungle area, so it's challenging because it's got jungle, so it's harder to find things below the vegetation, and it hasn't really been explored much at all. And we call it the back arc because the oceanic crust of the Pacific is going under the continent, the South American continent, and pushing up to form the Andes. And then in this back arc position away from this arc where these things are colliding, shouldn't be that much mineralization as we previously thought about it. But we found this new belt of these young intrusives that form at the top of the Andes, and you go 100 kilometers east of these major mines, and there's the same rocks there, and that's been a big breakthrough. And they're mineralized. We've got something like 18 porphyry epithermal systems over 150 kilometers. No doubt it's huge. And then the focus is to focus in on the best parts of these systems, permit them, and Hannan has been really a back pocket company. Buy a share and put it in your back pocket waiting for permitting. Now we're permitted, we're drilling without a doubt, and we've got some amazingly big systems to permit. So that's a bit of the background. No doubt, very, very, very large systems. One project that we'll talk about is 5 kilometers by 5 kilometers. It's some of the bigger footprints on Earth in terms of discovery in public companies.
These discoveries can get into the tens of millions of ounces down the track, hopefully, which can be huge company makers. And I mean, we've seen the Southern Cross go from a 30 million market cap to 2 billion. Hannan's at 100 million at the moment. So obviously the sky's the limit when you're talking these massive systems. But these systems that you've got, you've done a lot of work on them. There's a lot of data there. Can you just give us the highlights so investors can know that we're not the first ones to go in there? You've spent a lot of time and your team's resources in making this discovery, and you've found a lot already.
Yeah, so you should know about the structure of the company to see who's there already. So there's two main areas of the company's focus. One is north, and that's an area called San Martin. That's in joint venture with the Japanese government. JOGMEC. JOGMEC is the name of the entity. That's 100% funded by JOGMEC. They're earning into 70% of the project by spending $35 million US. That's a different style. That's what we call a sediment-hosted copper style. We'll park that because that's ongoing in the background. Less exposure for investors, but fully funded, so it doesn't cost Hannan shareholders a dime. The 100% owned project that will be the most talk is what we call Valiente. That's about 250 or 300 kilometers south of the JOGMEC JV area. And then just on the side, in terms of shareholder register, has been built by high net worths, insiders like myself over the last few years, but also Teck Resources, which is the largest base metal company in Canada. They own 9.9%, and they've written 3 or 4 checks over the last couple of years. They came to us early days when they saw what we're doing, breaking into these new frontiers, and said we'd love to be involved. So that gives you a bit of confidence that some of the world's largest mining companies and governments are involved with the team. And then in that Valiente area, there's 2 key areas. I said there's 18 porphyries, and we haven't got time to discuss those. There's 2 key areas. One where we're drilling, which is called, it happens to be called Balen. And there's 3 areas we're drilling there, 2 porphyries and epithermal, 40 platforms permitted, and I hope we don't stop drilling there over the next year. And we're in mineral systems. We haven't found the grade yet, but we're only 4 holes in, and there's no holes within 50 to 60 kilometers of this area. So brand new drilling that we've just started in a new area. So we're not asking investors to come in and wait for permitting timeframes. We're drilling today. And then 20 kilometers away from where we're drilling at Balen is an area called Previsto. And that's the big 5 by 5 kilometer area that I spoke to. That's an alkaline gold system. So the system, a style that the major gold companies are looking for, because they can form these tens of millions of ounces that I talked to. Analogs are Porgera and Cripple Creek in Papua New Guinea and the US respectively. They form amazingly big systems. You have these big seas of low-grade gold and these high grades within them. And that's what we're starting to see. We've got a 5 by 5 kilometer area of lower grade gold, but within that, we've started to trench 135 meters at 1.5 grams, 25 meters. That included was about 5 to 6 grams, and numbers up to an ounce in outcrop. Now, we just found that this year, that big system. So we've been unpacking it and trying to understand it, and just going through the initial phases of our permitting work to drill it. So we won't be drilling that until mid to late next year, but any one drill hole down here, 20 kilometers in Balen, could change the company's fortune. And then, of course, there's the other 18 different porphyry centers that will be working on and permitting progressively over the coming years. So there's a long-term strategy here, but there's a short-term strategy that we're executing also. So it's rigorous, it's systematic. We're finding a lot of gold. We're in the systems, and we're on our way drilling and permitting some of the biggest systems on Earth.
It's just crazy. So your register set, just like with Southern Cross, you've got the right shareholders with government support in this instance. You've already found the gold. You've just got to locate it like we did with Southern Cross. It took quite a few holes to get to the mother lode, and then all of a sudden it just went crazy overnight. The volume in Hannan is around about 100 to 80,000 shares a day. So to get a meaningful position, you really would look at taking a position in the placement and just sitting tight over the next 12 to 18 months. But you've got all the recipes for the success that you've had previously in Finland, in Australia, and throughout your career. You've found a lot of projects, Mike, and made them very successful. I mean, what are the chances of this one? It's got all the ingredients to bake the cake. Are you confident this one can come through as well?
Well, that's a Dorothy Dixer question. I'm an explorer, Sean. I love discovery, and it's what I do, I think, reasonably well. And we've got the runs on the board. These are massive systems. They're very exciting. We're rewriting the potential, really, of the Andes in that back arc setting. So there's amazing opportunity. The risk, if you want to think about it the other way, what's the risk? Well, the risk is, without a doubt, we've got the mineral systems there. So what's the grade, and where's the grade, and how long will it take us to find it, which, is our job. But that's one thing that we've started to do. Like I said, we've trenched very high grades at Previsto, and we hope to see that in the drilling sooner than later at Balen, where we've just started drilling. And then Peru, of course, is an overlay that's not as simple as many jurisdictions. So you've got to know what you're doing there. And that's having Kathy Vargas, who I've worked with for 25 years as general manager. And we've got Zach Tershwell, who's the exploration manager, who's gone across to live in Lima. He was well trained in Southern Cross as a geologist. So you've got to have the right people to navigate that system, because it is time risk at least, and it's not as opaque. It's more opaque than working in places like Australia. So you've really got to know and understand what you're doing. So we've got massive systems. I've got strong belief that we'll find very big mineralized systems there that will hold grade. And it's a big swing. It's elephant country. These are big deposits, and like I said, our fortunes could change in any one moment with one single drill hole, and we're drilling, and then it's really game on. It's all so prepped and ready to pivot, and we've got a pretty good gold market that we're in, and we've got some of the bigger, earlier stage gold systems in the market to explore over there in Peru.
Like I think it goes without saying, having worked with you for quite some time now, you really do understand the rocks. I mean, it's been proven time and time again, as we've said previously. There were quite a few companies that had Sunday Creek that didn't find what you found when you looked at the geology, did the geophysics, and just use your professionalism as a geo to get it working. I call you a sales geo because you actually can sell the story as well, but you're very good at managing the capital side and everything with the business. We've seen that extremely well with Southern Cross, and with how you've run Hannan, there's not many shares on issue to get to the point where it is today. You've kept a very tight capital structure and taken this company quite a long way on minimal effort and minimal money. I know you like to push the buck as far as you can. So I think you've got all the ingredients sitting there. I do also want to highlight that 100 kilometres away, you've got some of the largest copper mines in the world. So this, you're saying, is a new discovery. It's untested territory, which is fantastic, which is why you can make that discovery. But you've got your neighbours who are like the biggest in the world. So, and Peru is one of the biggest mining destinations in the world. So I think you've got everything baked in to make this a success. And it's just which drill hole finds the grade realistically, because that trenching, you're looking up to an ounce in some of those sections. That's not a few bits of dust. That's quite a substantial amount of gold. So yeah, let's hope this moves quickly. This placement that we're doing, you've already got a tight register. You've got some overseas investors that are coming that have been following you like we have, and like why we're coming through. The register is going to continue to be tight, isn't it, with the money that you're taking?
That's why I'm talking to you, Sean. We've worked together very well and built a company successfully. You've been a major part of it, and your shareholders have been a major part of it, and they understand the business of exploration. And it's a key part, right? You can have the best discoveries in the world and the best management, but you're only as good as the shareholder beside you who's going to hold or sell or buy. And, we're here in the business of exploration, and building a poor register is a broken model. That's not something that I want to do. I want to build these businesses and make them amazingly successful with partners like you and your shareholder base. And Canada's great at issuing warrants with stock, and we haven't got one warrant, for example, as a dilutive overhang on the stock, and this financing will be done without a warrant also. So we've got a very good register, and it's been built essentially privately, like I said, with people who've supported me for 20 plus years in the States and ourselves, and then with tech as well. So we're looking to build on that very good base.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So that you've got the minimum virtually committed, as we were discussing earlier today. You're looking at a minimum of 5 million up to 8, which will carry you out for 12 months of drilling. So you have a 12-month runway to around 12 Ks of drilling to really get these territories drilled out to make the high-grade hit with your team over there in Peru.
Yeah, the aim is to keep drilling at Balen, keep the rig turning there. And a year would take about 12 kilometres of drilling. We're about 2.5 kilometres in. We've released about 1,200 metres, I think, so far, or something to that effect. So at the start of it, and we want to keep going because we've got a 12-kilometre long system to narrow in on. And while we're drilling, we'll be permitting and unraveling what the monster Previsto is giving us, and ideally by mid to late next year, we will be drilling Previsto, but we're not asking people to wait for that. We're drilling at an adjacent project as we go through that exercise. That is long and slow in Peru and painful, but we've done it. We've done it before just down the road, and we're repeating it again at Previsto.
So near-term catalysts, you've got 2 holes that one's just been completed and the other one's, I believe, running through the ground. So you should have news flow this side of Christmas, or you'll be looking after Christmas?
Oh, definitely. There will be news flow continually, with results always imminent with the drill hole spinning.
Fantastic. Just like Southern Cross, we've always got something up our sleeve coming out very quickly. So, Mike, that's thank you so much for spending your time on a Sunday. I know I've got to get this out to my investors as soon as possible so we can make a decision as to how much to invest. I think a lot of them are thinking. You've certainly made a lot of the money. You've seen the performance from Southern Cross going from 20 cents to, I think, $9.20 as of Friday. You're talking 45 times. We're talking tens of millions of ounces with the 100 million market cap. Obviously, we can see a lot of upside in this position as well. I mean, I can't put a number on it at the moment, but millions and millions of ounces. Like, you've got 3 million at high grade, you're talking multi-billions, tens of millions. I can't think what that would do to the market cap.
Make it higher, ideally.
Well, that's what we're here
we're
for.
not in the business of peaking share prices on discovery, but that's the value creation opportunity, without a doubt.
Yeah, we've got a lot of eyes on you, Mike, and I'm really thankful. I mean, our investors and myself have shown that we are supporters. We don't come in and get out straight away. I know you could have used a lot of different investors for this with your reputation from Southern Cross. You've created a multi-billion-dollar project there. So I think we're extremely lucky to be able to invest in this opportunity, because I'm sure there's a line of brokers that'll be happy to finance you, because you've got the Midas touch. Obviously, millions in Finland, millions in Australia, and that's not talking to the rest of your history as well.
Thanks for your support, Sean. I love working with you, and looking forward to doing it again here.
Great. Thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks, mate.